Aries, bold, fearless, and always ready to take on the world. They are the warriors of the zodiac, the ones who charge ahead when others hesitate. But what happens when an Aries gets hurt? Unlike some signs that sulk in silence or retreat into their own world, Aries reacts with fire, and not just any fire, the kind that burns bright, fast, and without warning. If you've ever been close to an Aries, you know they're not the type to wear their pain like a badge of honor. They don't dwell, they don't mope, and they certainly don't play the victim. But that doesn't mean they don't feel things deeply. When an Aries is hurt, their reaction is instant, it's passionate, it's raw, and sometimes it's explosive. They might lash out in anger, speak their mind without a filter, or suddenly pull away, acting like you never even existed. Their pride won't let them beg for attention, but their actions will tell you everything you need to know if you're paying attention. Aries don't hold grudges for long, but when they're hurt, they want you to feel it just like they do. But here's the thing. Most of the time, Aries doesn't get hurt by accident. There are specific things that cut them deeper than others, things that make them feel invisible, unappreciated, or even betrayed. And if you're not careful, you might find yourself on the receiving end of their fiery wrath without even realizing what you did wrong. So, what are the biggest mistakes people make that leave Aries feeling broken? Let's dive into the first 5 things that can truly wound the heart of this fearless zodiac sign. Aries are known for their confidence, their fiery energy, and their ability to take charge in any situation. They are the ones who walk into a room and immediately grab attention, not because they demand it, but because their presence is undeniable. They have an infectious enthusiasm that makes them magnetic, a natural passion that draws people in. But beneath that fearless exterior, Aries have a deep, often hidden need to be recognized, not just acknowledged in passing, but truly seen. When an Aries feels invisible, when they feel like they don't matter, it's one of the quickest ways to wound them in a way that is hard to repair. They won't always say it outright. They might not admit that it affects them. But if you look closely, you'll see it in their reactions, in their energy, in the way they begin to withdraw or explode. Here are 5 ways people unintentionally, or sometimes very intentionally, make Aries feel invisible and why it cuts them so deeply. Number 1, not responding to their messages quickly. Aries live in the moment. They are impulsive, spontaneous, and thrive on immediacy. When they reach out, whether it's through a text, a call, or even sending a funny meme, it's not just about the message itself, it's about connection. They act fast, and they expect others to at least try to match that energy. So when someone takes hours or days to reply, Aries don't just see it as, oh, they must be busy. They see it as, I wasn't important enough for them to respond to. Their mind races, and before you know it, they've already convinced themselves that they're being pushed aside. Of course, they won't always express this insecurity directly. Instead, they'll either mirror your behavior. If you take forever to respond, suddenly they will too. Call you out directly, expect a sarcastic, oh wow, finally decided to reply, pull away completely. Aries won't chase someone who makes them feel unwanted. It's not about needing constant attention. It's about respecting the connection they've chosen to have with you. If they care enough to reach out, they expect the same energy in return. Number 2, interrupting them while they speak. Aries speak with passion. Their words aren't just thrown out there carelessly. They are delivered with purpose, with conviction, with that fiery energy that makes them so captivating. So when someone interrupts them mid-sentence, it's not just annoying, it's a direct attack on their presence. To Aries, being interrupted feels like being told, your words don't matter as much as mine. What you're saying isn't important enough to finish. I wasn't really listening anyway. And trust me, if you do this to an Aries, you will know. Their face will change instantly. They may pause for a second, raise an eyebrow, or if they're feeling particularly irritated, they'll hit you with a sarcastic, oh no, go ahead. Clearly what you have to say is more important. If you want to keep an Aries in your life, let them speak. Let them express themselves fully. Because if they ever start feeling like their voice doesn't matter, they'll stop wasting their breath on you entirely. Number 3, acting indifferent to their enthusiasm, Aries are naturally enthusiastic. When they're excited about something, a new idea, a personal achievement, or even just a fun plan for the weekend, they don't hold back. They light up. They want to share that excitement with the people they care about. But nothing kills their fire faster than being met with indifference. When an Aries tells you about something they're passionate about and you just say, "Oh, cool," or barely react at all, it doesn't just disappoint them, it hurts. Aries are all about energy. They give it freely and they expect it in return. If they feel like their excitement is constantly being met with lukewarm responses, they'll stop sharing. And when Aries stop sharing with you, it's not because they've lost excitement. It's because they've lost interest in you. Number 4, not acknowledging their efforts. Aries are doers. They put in effort. They show up. They fight for the people they care about, sometimes even to their own detriment. But if they start to feel like all that effort is going unnoticed, they won't complain. They'll just stop trying. It's not that they need endless praise. They're not fishing for compliments. But a simple thank you or "I appreciate what you did" goes a long way with them. When Aries feel unappreciated, their natural instinct is to withdraw. They'll stop putting in effort because, in their mind, why should they keep giving energy to someone who doesn't value it? Number 5, ignoring their achievements. Aries are natural-born competitors. They push themselves hard. Whether it's at work, in their hobbies, or even in personal growth, they want to win, and they want people to notice. Imagine working day and night on something, putting in every ounce of effort you have, reaching a big goal, and the people around you act like it never happened. That's what it feels like for Aries when their achievements go unnoticed. They won't ask for applause. They won't beg for validation. But they will remember who celebrated them and who didn't. And if they start feeling like their successes are being ignored, they'll start distancing themselves from the people who can't be happy for them. Aries may seem tough, even invincible, but at the end of the day, they're still human. They want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged, and most importantly, they want to feel like they matter. When they start feeling ignored, whether through delayed responses, interrupted thoughts, or a lack of appreciation, the fire inside them doesn't just burn out, it turns into something else entirely. And that's when you start seeing the other side of Aries, the side that reacts, the side that fights back, the side that, when pushed too far, will walk away without a second thought. If there is one thing Aries were born to do, it's to live on their own terms. They are independent, strong-willed, and unapologetically themselves. They don't ask for permission. They take action. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. Their fire burns brightest when they have the freedom to move, to explore, to lead. So what happens when someone tries to control them? When they feel boxed in, restricted, or told what to do? That's when Aries starts to suffocate. And when they feel suffocated, they don't just pull away, they explode. Many people don't realize they are making an Aries feel trapped until it's too late. They think they are helping, guiding, or setting necessary boundaries. But in reality, they are extinguishing the fire that makes Aries who they are. And once an Aries feels like they've lost control over their own life, regaining their trust becomes nearly impossible. Here are 5 ways people unintentionally or deliberately make Aries feel controlled, and why it pushes them to their breaking point. Number 6, constantly telling them what to do. Aries don't take orders, ever. If you tell them to do something, expect them to do the exact opposite, just to prove that they can. It's not because they are difficult or rebellious for no reason. It's because they have an innate need to own their decisions. Even if your advice is good, even if your guidance is well-intentioned, the moment it starts feeling like a command rather than a suggestion, Aries will resist. And they won't just resist quietly. They will push back with full force, challenging you at every turn until they reclaim their autonomy. If you want an Aries to listen, don't tell them what to do. Instead, inspire them. Show them possibilities. Give them space to come to their own conclusions. Because the second they feel forced into something, their first instinct is to run the other way. Number 7, dictating their choices in relationships or work. Aries are leaders, not followers. They carve their own paths, make their own choices, and pursue their goals with relentless determination. So when someone, whether it's a partner, friend, boss, or family member, tries to dictate their decisions, it creates instant tension. This can happen in small ways, like telling them which career they should pursue, or in bigger ways, like trying to control their social life or who they spend time with. It's one thing to offer advice, it's another to make them feel like they must comply. Aries will listen, but the moment they feel pressured or manipulated, their instinct is to rebel. If they stay in a situation where they feel controlled for too long, something even worse happens. They start losing their spark. They become restless, agitated, even aggressive. Because for Aries, nothing is worse than feeling like they aren't in charge of their own destiny. Number 8, not allowing them space for independence. An Aries in a relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, still needs freedom. They don't do well with clinginess, possessiveness, or anyone who tries to micromanage their every move. They need space to explore their interests, chase their ambitions, and have moments of solitude without feeling guilty about it. If a partner constantly needs reassurance, checks in too often, or tries to dictate how Aries should spend their time, it starts to feel suffocating. A healthy relationship with Aries is built on trust. They need to know that they can go off and do their thing, pursue their dreams, and still come back to a connection that is strong and secure. Anything less than that makes them feel trapped, and a trapped Aries is an Aries who is already planning their escape. Number 9, overly strict rules and expectations. Aries thrive in freedom, not structure. That's not to say they can't follow rules. They can and will when necessary, but only if those rules make sense to them. If a rule feels arbitrary, unfair, or unnecessarily rigid, Aries will challenge it, break it, or ignore it completely. This is especially true in work environments, families, or relationships where there are too many expectations placed on them. They don't like being told they must act a certain way, dress a certain way, or live according to someone else's standards. If you try to put too many restrictions on Aries, you'll only make them want to break free. They aren't interested in fitting into a mold. They are here to shatter expectations and create a life that is uniquely their own. Number 10, trying to change who they are. At their core, Aries are unapologetically themselves. They are loud, passionate, impulsive, and full of energy. They don't tone themselves down for anyone, and they don't believe in being anything other than 100% real. So when someone tries to change them, tries to make them more quiet, passive, patient, or agreeable, it feels like an attack on their identity. They will resist, not because they don't want to grow, but because they refuse to be molded into something they're not. The worst thing you can do to an Aries is make them feel like they aren't good enough the way they are. If they sense that you're trying to reshape them into your version of who they should be, they'll walk away. Not because they don't care, but because they'd rather be alone and authentic than surrounded by people who want them to be someone they're not. If there's one thing Aries cannot stand, it's feeling like they are being controlled. The moment they sense their freedom slipping away, they will either start pushing back aggressively or silently planning their exit. And once they've made up their mind to leave, there's no convincing them otherwise. Aries may be known for their boldness, their fire, and their ability to bounce back from almost anything. But if there's one thing that can truly break them, it's betrayal. For all their strength, Aries are deeply loyal. They don't just let people into their lives, they choose them. And when they choose you, they will defend you, stand by you, and fight for you with everything they have. But loyalty is a two-way street. If Aries ever feels like their trust has been broken, if they realize that someone they believed in has deceived them, that's when the fire burns differently. It's no longer a passionate, warm flame. It becomes an uncontrollable wildfire, destroying everything in its path. The worst part? Aries don't see betrayal as a single event. To them, it's a violation of something sacred, a promise, a bond, a trust they thought was unbreakable. And once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to restore. Here are 5 ways people betray Aries, whether they realize it or not, and why the damage is often irreversible. Number 11, lying to them, even about small things. Aries value honesty more than anything. They don't sugarcoat their words, and they don't expect others to either. They are direct, sometimes brutally so, and in return, they demand the same honesty from those around them. So when someone lies to them, even about something small, it doesn't just make them angry, it makes them question everything. Because if you can lie about one thing, what else are you hiding? What else have you not been honest about? An Aries might forgive a lie, but they will never forget it. And if they catch you lying multiple times, consider the relationship over. Not because they are unforgiving, but because they simply refuse to waste their energy on people they can't trust. Number 12. Talking badly about them behind their back. Aries are confrontational. If they have a problem with you, they will tell you to your face. They don't believe in passive aggressiveness, in whispers behind closed doors, or in pretending everything is fine when it's not. That's why it destroys them when they find out someone they care about has been bad-mouthing them behind their back. To Aries, that's cowardly. They respect honesty, even if it's painful, but they have zero tolerance for people who pretend to be loyal to them while secretly tearing them down. Once an Aries discovers this type of betrayal, there is no coming back from it. They won't argue. They won't beg for an explanation. They will simply walk away permanently. Number 13, breaking a promise. If Aries tells you they will do something, they will do it. Their word is their bond, and they expect the same level of commitment from others. So when someone makes a promise to Aries and then breaks it, even if it wasn't intentional, it hurts. It makes them feel like they can't depend on that person, like they gave their trust to someone who didn't value it. To Aries, reliability is everything. They need to know that the people in their lives mean what they say. And if someone repeatedly makes promises and doesn't follow through, Aries won't keep giving them chances. They'll move on to people who actually keep their word. Number 14, cheating or being disloyal in relationships. Loyalty in relationships is non-negotiable for Aries. When they love with intensity. They give everything to their relationships, expecting the same level of devotion in return. That's why cheating or any form of disloyalty hits them harder than almost anything else. It's not just about the act itself, it's about the betrayal of trust, the violation of the emotional bond they thought was unshakable. Aries doesn't handle heartbreak quietly. If they've been betrayed in love, expect rage, devastation, and a complete emotional shutdown. They will cut you off immediately, not out of spite, but out of sheer self-respect. There is no second chance with an Aries when it comes to disloyalty. Once you betray them romantically, you are dead to them. Number 15, using them for personal gain. Aries are givers. They will support their friends, fight for their loved ones, and help those in need without a second thought. But nothing makes them feel more used than realizing someone was only keeping them around for personal benefit. They despise manipulation. They can sense when someone is being fake, but if they were genuinely invested in a friendship or relationship and later realize they were only being used, the betrayal is crushing. The worst part? Aries won't just be hurt, they will be furious. They will call you out, expose you, and make sure you never have the chance to use them again. Because if there's one thing Aries can't stand, it's feeling like a fool. Aries don't handle betrayal like other signs. They don't sit in silence, they don't cry endlessly, and they certainly don't give second chances. They react immediately, with the kind of finality that most people don't expect. If they find out they've been lied to, manipulated, or used, they won't waste time arguing about it. They will erase you from their life so fast, you won't even have time to explain yourself. Aries are natural-born doers. They don't sit around waiting for things to happen. They make things happen. Whether it's in their relationships, friendships, career, or personal goals, Aries put in effort. They show up, they fight for what they believe in, and they pour their energy into the things and people that matter to them. But if there's one thing that can slowly break their spirit, it's feeling unappreciated. Aries don't expect endless praise, but they do expect recognition. They need to know that their energy, their dedication, and their relentless support are valued. When they start to feel like their efforts are going unnoticed, or worse, taken for granted, it creates a deep, simmering frustration that can eventually explode. And once Aries reach their breaking point, they don't just stop giving. They shut down completely. Here are 5 ways people unintentionally or intentionally make Aries feel unappreciated, and why it's one of the quickest ways to lose them. Number 16. Not saying thank you when they help Aries are action-oriented. They don't just offer support with words, they back it up with action. They'll be there for you when you need help, fight battles on your behalf, and go out of their way to make sure you're okay. But if they constantly do things for you and never hear so much as a simple thank you, it starts to wear on them. They begin to feel like their kindness is being expected rather than appreciated. Aries don't help people because they want recognition, but they do want to know that their efforts matter. If they start to feel like they're being used or taken for granted, they won't complain. They'll just stop helping. And when an Aries stops showing up for you, it's a clear sign that they've realized their energy is better spent elsewhere. Number 17. Expecting them to always be there, but not reciprocating. Aries are fiercely loyal. They are the kind of people who will drop everything to be there for you when you need them. They will defend you, stand by you, and make you feel like you have an unshakable force of support in your life. But loyalty is a two-way street. If an Aries constantly shows up for you but realizes that you're never there when they need someone, it won't take long for resentment to build. They won't necessarily say anything at first. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt, telling themselves that maybe you were busy, maybe you didn't realize. But if it happens repeatedly, they will take it as a clear sign that they're in a one-sided relationship, and that is something Aries will never tolerate. If an Aries stops reaching out, stops making an effort, or becomes distant, don't assume they've just moved on. More than likely, they realized that their energy wasn't being reciprocated, and they decided to stop wasting their time. Number 18. Dismissing their efforts as not a big deal. Aries may be confident, but they are also deeply sensitive to being dismissed. When they put effort into something, whether it's planning a special event, helping someone in need, or putting their heart into a project, they do it because they care. So when someone acts like their effort wasn't important, or worse, completely ignores it, it cuts deeper than most people realize. To Aries, this isn't just about appreciation, it's about respect. If an Aries goes out of their way to do something meaningful, and the reaction they get is indifference, they won't lash out immediately, but the hurt will build. And once they feel like their contributions don't matter, they won't bother giving anymore. Not because they want validation, but because they refuse to waste their energy on people who can't see their worth. Number 19. Forgetting to acknowledge their achievements. Aries work hard. They are naturally competitive, not necessarily with others, but with themselves. They are constantly pushing their limits, setting new goals, and striving to be better than they were yesterday. That's why one of the most painful things for an Aries is achieving something meaningful, whether it's a career milestone, a personal victory, or a major life accomplishment, only to have the people they care about not even notice. They don't need a grand celebration. They don't need endless praise, but a simple, "Wow, I'm proud of you," or "That's amazing," makes all the difference. If an Aries feels like their successes are going unnoticed, they will start to feel disconnected. And when they feel disconnected, they withdraw. And once they pull away emotionally, it's extremely difficult to bring them back. Number 20. Treating their generosity as an expectation instead of a gift. Aries are givers. They love to surprise people, go the extra mile, and make grand gestures simply because they enjoy making others happy. But the moment someone starts expecting their generosity rather than appreciating it, Aries will immediately lose interest. They don't like feeling obligated to give. They give because they want to, not because they have to. If they feel like their kindness is being taken for granted, they will stop being generous, not out of spite, but out of principle. To Aries, everything they do is a choice. They choose to care, they choose to give, they choose to put in effort. But if people stop appreciating that effort, Aries will choose something else instead. The freedom to walk away. Aries can handle challenges. They can handle setbacks, competition, and even failure. But what they can't handle is feeling like everything they give, their energy, their time, their love, their passion, is going unnoticed, At first, they may push harder, trying to prove their worth, but if they keep feeling unappreciated, something shifts inside them. They stop fighting for the connection, they stop showing up, and once an Aries stops giving, they never go back to who they were before. Aries are known for their confidence, independence, and fearless attitude. They don't wait for permission to take action. They don't rely on others to define their worth. And they certainly don't beg for acceptance. But here's the truth. Most people don't see. Deep down, Aries crave belonging just as much as anyone else. Despite their bold exterior, Aries want to feel like they are part of something meaningful. A friendship, a relationship, a team, a family. They thrive when they have their people, the ones who celebrate their victories, support their wild ideas, and stand beside them when times get tough. But when Aries feels pushed away, rejected, or left out, that fire that usually fuels them turns into something else. Pain, frustration, and a silent, growing resentment. And the worst part? Aries won't always say it outright. They won't beg for a spot in someone's life. Instead, they will pretend it doesn't bother them, until one day, they're just gone. Here are 5 ways people unintentionally or intentionally make Aries feel rejected or excluded, and why it's one of the most painful things you can do to them. Number 21, being left out of plans. Aries are spontaneous and adventurous. They love being part of exciting experiences, whether it's a last-minute road trip, a party, or even just a simple dinner with friends. So when they find out that a group of people made plans without inviting them, it stings, even if they act like they don't care. It's not about needing to be included in everything. Aries understand that sometimes people do things separately, but if they start noticing that they are consistently overlooked, that they are never the first choice, or that invitations are only extended as an afterthought, they take it personally. They won't demand an explanation. They won't ask, "Why wasn't I invited?" Instead, they will slowly start distancing themselves because Aries refuse to be in places where they feel unwanted. Number 22, feeling like the third wheel. Aries may be confident, but they hate feeling like an outsider in their own friendships or relationships. Nothing makes them feel more uncomfortable than realizing they are the extra person, the one who doesn't quite fit. This can happen when a close friend starts prioritizing someone else and leaves Aries behind. A group dynamic shifts, making them feel less important. A partner makes them feel like they're just an option rather than a priority. Aries won't always say it, but when they start feeling like an accessory instead of a valued part of the relationship, their instinct is to pull away. They will not fight for a spot in anyone's life. If they sense they are being pushed to the side, they will leave before they can be left behind. Number 23, not being invited to important events. It's one thing to miss out on casual plans, but when Aries gets excluded from something major, like a wedding, a big trip, or a significant event, it feels like a betrayal. Even if they don't say it, they will remember it. They will wonder, why wasn't I included? Did I not mean as much to them as they meant to me? Aries might not confront you about it, but the next time you need them, don't be surprised if they aren't as eager to show up. They don't want to be an afterthought. They want to be surrounded by people who genuinely want them there, not just people who invite them when it's convenient. Number 24, being ignored in group conversations. Aries have big personalities. They are talkative, passionate, and always full of ideas. So when they are in a group and no one listens to them, interrupts them, or talks over them, it sends a very clear message. You don't matter here. At first, Aries might try harder, speaking louder, pushing to be heard. But if it happens repeatedly, they shut down completely. They will stop contributing, stop engaging, and worst of all, they will mentally check out of the connection. If you ever notice an Aries going quiet in a group, don't assume they have nothing to say. They've already decided it's not worth saying anymore. Number 25, having their opinions dismissed. Aries are strong-willed and they are natural leaders. They have ideas, they have solutions, and they believe in themselves. But nothing makes them feel more disrespected than when their opinions are completely brushed aside, especially if they were never even considered in the first place. It's not that Aries need to be agreed with all the time. They actually love a good debate. What they can't stand is when someone disregards their thoughts without a second thought. as if what they have to say doesn't hold any weight. It can happen in conversations, at work, or in relationships. The moment Aries feel like their voice doesn't matter, they lose interest in the connection. They won't fight to be heard. They will simply walk away and find people who do listen. Aries may be independent, but they are not immune to rejection. When they feel like they are constantly being left out, ignored, or treated like they don't belong, it destroys their passion for the connection. At first, they may try harder, showing up, making an effort, proving their worth. But if the feeling of exclusion continues, they stop trying altogether. And once Aries mentally checks out, it's nearly impossible to bring them back. Aries are all about action. They move fast, think fast, and expect the world to keep up with them. They don't waste time over-analyzing or second-guessing themselves. They see what they want, and they go after it. Their energy is direct, intense, and unstoppable. So what happens when they're surrounded by people who are slow, passive, or constantly indecisive? Frustration, exhaustion, and eventually complete disconnection. Aries don't just dislike hesitation, they can't stand it. Nothing drains them more than waiting on someone who just can't make up their mind. Nothing annoys them more than people who lack passion, drive, or initiative. And nothing makes them feel more alone than realizing they are the only one putting in the effort to move forward. At first, they might try to help, pushing, motivating, even demanding action. But if they keep meeting resistance, something inside them shifts. They stop pushing, they stop caring. And when Aries loses interest, it's already too late. Here are 5 ways slow-moving, passive people completely exhaust Aries, and why it often leads to Aries walking away. Number 26. People taking too long to make a decision. Aries are impulsive, but not because they don't think things through. They just trust themselves. They believe in making decisions quickly and confidently, because to them, hesitation is worse than making the wrong choice. So when they are forced to wait on someone who just can't decide, it feels like pure torture. They don't understand how someone can spend hours, days, or even weeks debating over something that, to Aries, is obvious. It can be something small, choosing a restaurant, picking a movie, deciding what to wear, or it can be something major, commitment in relationships, career choices, life decisions. No matter the situation, if Aries starts feeling like they're always waiting, their patience runs out fast, and once it does, they will make the decision for you and move on without looking back. Number 27. Overthinking. Instead of acting, Aries are risk takers. They don't sit around analyzing every possible outcome. They don't get stuck in what-if scenarios. To them, the only way to know if something will work is to try it. So when they are around someone who constantly overthinks everything, it drives them insane. They can't comprehend why someone would choose to stay in fear and uncertainty instead of just doing something about it. They will try to push you out of it. They will tell you to just go for it, to stop worrying, to take the leap. But if they see that no matter how much they encourage you, you're still paralyzed by indecision, they will stop trying. Because in Aries' mind, if you're not willing to act, you're not willing to grow. And they don't have time for people who aren't growing. Number 28. Avoiding confrontation instead of addressing problems. Aries are direct. They don't play games, they don't beat around the bush, and they certainly don't avoid conflict. If there's a problem, they face it head on. Because to them, the fastest way to solve something is to deal with it immediately. That's why one of the most frustrating things for Aries is dealing with people who avoid confrontation at all costs. People who pretend everything is fine when it's not. People who ignore issues instead of fixing them. To Aries, this isn't just annoying, it's weakness. It makes them lose respect for the person. Because in their world, problems don't go away by ignoring them. They only get worse. If Aries realizes they are the only one willing to have tough conversations, they will stop trying. And once they stop trying, they start distancing themselves. Because Aries only surrounds themselves with people who are strong enough to face reality. Number 29. Not showing passion or drive. Aries are intense. They have big goals, big dreams, and a fire inside them that never stops burning. They are constantly pushing themselves, challenging limits, and aiming higher. So when they are around people who just don't care, who seem indifferent about their future, who have no excitement for life, who don't want more for themselves, it kills their energy. Aries don't understand how someone can just exist without chasing something bigger. They don't get how someone can be okay with being average, with settling, with staying in the same place forever. They don't need everyone to be exactly like them, but they do need to be surrounded by people who have ambition, passion, and a hunger for life. If they feel like they're the only one moving forward, they will leave you behind. Number 30, lacking a sense of urgency in important situations. Aries move fast. They don't believe in waiting, delaying, or wasting time. When something needs to be done, they do it immediately. So when they're around people who move too slowly in urgent situations, they start to lose patience quickly. It can be in daily life, someone walking too slowly in front of them, taking forever to get ready, or dragging out a simple task. Or it can be in serious situations, waiting too long to make a decision, delaying an important action, failing to step up when it really matters. To Aries, time is everything. They don't believe in wasting it, and they certainly don't believe in waiting around for people who can't match their energy. Aries may seem like they have unlimited energy, but the truth is, they are selective about where they spend it. When they feel like they are constantly being held back by slow, passive, or indecisive people, they start to pull away. At first, they may try to push you into action. They will encourage, challenge, even demand that you keep up with them. But if they realize that no matter what they do, you're still stuck, they will stop trying, they will stop pushing, they will stop caring. And once an Aries stops caring, they stop investing in you altogether. After everything we have covered, the ways Aries get hurt, the emotional wounds that cut the deepest, and the slow erosion of their patience, there is one final truth that cannot be ignored. When Aries finally walk away, they do not come back. Aries may be impulsive, quick-tempered, and reactive, but when it comes to true emotional pain, they do not make rash decisions. They fight for the people they care about. They push for things to work, and they hold on longer than they should. But once they realize their energy is being wasted, their loyalty is not being reciprocated, or worse, that they are being manipulated, disrespected, or taken for granted, they reach a moment of absolute clarity. That moment is their breaking point. And when Aries reach that point, something shifts inside them. They do not beg. They do not argue. They do not explain themselves over and over again. They simply decide that they are done. And when an Aries is done, they are done forever. Aries can handle conflict. They can handle challenges, setbacks, and even failures. But what they cannot tolerate is being in a situation where they feel like they are giving everything and getting nothing in return. These are the wounds that make Aries shut down and walk away. Being ignored or feeling invisible, Aries need to feel seen, heard, and valued. If they feel overlooked, dismissed, or treated like an afterthought, they will not waste time trying to prove their worth. Feeling controlled or restricted, Aries need freedom. If someone tries to dictate their choices, control their actions, or limit their independence, they will fight against it. And if the fight never ends, they will simply walk away. Betrayal and dishonesty, Aries value loyalty above all else. If they catch someone lying, talking behind their back, or breaking their trust, the relationship is over. There are no second chances. Feeling unappreciated or taken for granted, Aries give everything to the people they love. But if their efforts are ignored or expected rather than appreciated, they will stop giving altogether. Being rejected or excluded, Aries may seem strong, but they still want to belong. If they feel constantly left out, ignored, or undervalued, they will not stick around where they are not wanted. Dealing with slow, passive, or indecisive people, Aries move fast. If they feel like they are constantly waiting on someone who is hesitant, unsure, or unmotivated, they will lose patience and move forward alone. These wounds do not always push Aries away immediately. At first, they will try harder. They will give more, push more, and fight for the connection. But if nothing changes, if they keep feeling unheard, unseen, and undervalued, Aries do what no one expects. They leave, not with a dramatic scene, not with an emotional meltdown, not with one last argument. They simply walk away, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And once they are gone forever. The simple answer is, you probably do not. By the time Aries have reached this point, they have already given too many chances. They have fought for the relationship, overlooked warning signs, and convinced themselves to keep trying. If you wait until Aries have mentally checked out, there's almost nothing you can do to bring them back. The only way to keep an Aries in your life is to never let them feel like they have to fight for your respect, your loyalty, or your appreciation in the first place. Listen when they tell you what is bothering them. Show them that their energy is not being wasted. Match their passion and commitment. Never take them for granted, because once Aries realize they deserve better, they do not hesitate to go find it. Now, it is your turn to share your thoughts. Are you an Aries? Did any of this resonate with you? Do you know an Aries? Have you ever seen them shut down and walk away? What is one thing that instantly makes you lose interest in someone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a real conversation going. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to Secret of the Zodiac for more astrology content that actually tells it like it is. Hit the like button if you want more videos on Aries and other zodiac signs. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. This community is growing, and I want to hear from you. Let's talk in the comments.